The gentleman from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment would block this legislation from allowing increased oil and gas leasing on any federal land where outdoor recreation takes place. Our public lands are for the public, not for the wealthiest industry in the history of the world to drill and despoil with impunity. Being active in the outdoors and experiencing wild places is a way of life, not just in my district, but for many communities around this country. During the COVID-19 pandemic, when we were unable to gather the way we like to indoors, we learned just how important our parks and our public lands are, how getting outside helps our well-being. This is why we must protect and expand our public lands for recreational use, not give them away to a single polluting industry. We all depend on the ecological, economic, and mental health benefits that our public lands provide, and that's why my amendment protects these important lands. If we are good stewards, our public lands can simultaneously support a thriving outdoor recreation economy as well as natural resiliency against the climate crisis, all while preserving and protecting these precious lands for future generations. These are the goals of the Biden administration and the state of California in their efforts to protect 30% of our lands by 2030. Because these lands are meant for everyone to use and enjoy and pass down to future generations to do the same. However, H.R. 21 would create an arbitrary increase in oil and gas development for the benefit of one single group, the oil and gas industry. This bill may seem simple. It's just 3 pages long, and yet it does something really big and dangerous. It stands to open up over 300 million acres to be destroyed for oil and gas drilling, an area equivalent to 3 times the size of California, or 6 times the combined size of all our national parks. This is unacceptable, and it's another example of the dangerous extremism we see from this new Republican majority. The fact of the matter is there are currently 9,000 permits held by the oil and gas industry right now that are not being used. Additionally, the majority of the roughly 26 million acres that are currently under lease to oil and gas companies on our federal lands and waters are not being used. Industry is simply sitting on them to keep prices artificially high. What would industry do with the dramatic expansion of new leasing opportunities on our valuable public lands? Well, evidence shows that they will simply lock them up so that they couldn't be used for other activities, such as recreation or renewable energy. I represent the North Coast of California, and my constituents know the value of public lands for outdoor recreation, from hiking and climbing to kayaking and angling. I hope folks on both sides of the aisle would agree that we need to protect the future of these cherished recreational activities on our public lands. Our public lands used for outdoor recreation should not be sacrificed at the altar of big oil. And with that, I yield back.